Hello and welcome to the Snakebite. It is mid-basketball season. We've got basketball news, swim news, track news, spring sports are coming up, all that and more on this episode of the Snakebite. I'm James Simpson. This is Carl Van Gelder. Let's get into it.
And let's start with women's basketball. The Mocs had just one game on the schedule for this past week, down in Miami Shores at Barry back on January 17th. Entering the matchup, they looked to return to their winning ways and climbed up the conference standings following a tough loss to Lynn. Like we've seen time and time again this season, the Mocs got out to a slow start with the Bucks opening the game on a 12-2 run. But Sydney Gomes had an answer and fueled the Mocs offense in the first with 10 first-quarter points, including 2 threes. However, the Mocs found themselves down 7 after a quarter of play and began attacking the paint, leading to them going 10 for 10 from the charity stripe in the second quarter, and going into half only down 1 point. To start the second half, both sides traded blows, with the Mocs taking the lead heading into the fourth due to crucial buckets from the tandem of Bracero and 𝙏𝙃𝙀, and Barry had answers of their own, however, battling back in the fourth despite poor shooting, but ultimately fell to the Mocs because of 2 clutch free throws made by Amari Jackson, who played limited minutes in the win. The Mocs now sit 7th in the Sunshine State Conference standings and will look to keep moving up the board, and they'll take on a tough Rollins College Tars team in Winter Park tonight at 5:30.
The men's basketball team, too, Carl, had yet another thriller in Miami Shores. What was their third game decided by less than 5 points over their last 4. The game started off how most Mocs games have under Coach Donnelly, red hot. Florida Southern scoring 56 to Barry's 55. Both teams shot extremely efficiently in the first half, shooting above 50% from 3, with the Mocs shooting above 50% from the field as a whole. Despite the high-scoring affair of the first half, the second half slowed down a lot. It was a much more defensive, much more focused game. Neither team scored over 40 points or shot above 40% from the field in the second half. Barry evening it at 93 in the final moments due to 2 clutch free throws from Adrian Roberts. Going in overtime, both teams were unable to remedy their shooting woes. It was a little inaccurate, and with moments remaining in overtime, Barry was up 2. The Mocs, looking for an answer, found one with 5 seconds remaining, with Joe Moon IV hitting a fast break layup to tie the game at 101. Sending the game to yet another overtime period, but the Mocs began to get punished for the foul trouble they put themselves in earlier in the game. Barry attacked this weakness, sinking 7 free throws in the second overtime period and held off Florida Southern in a 116-112 win.
And James, even though the Mocs have stumbled as of late, the box score was still filled by players like Alex Steen and Luke Anderson, who both had 20-plus point double-doubles with 4 blocks. However, they couldn't do enough to stop Sunshine State Conference Player of the Week, James Montgomery, who had 23 points and 14 rebounds. Florida Southern has had some time to reset, though, with this past weekend off, and they will return to action tonight at Rollins. The Mocs now sit 2nd in the conference in what has been an especially competitive season of Sunshine State Conference play. Florida Southern only trails Nova Southeastern. However, Lynn, Embry-Riddle, and PBA, who the Mocs face Saturday, all have winning records in conference play entering action tonight. The SSC is tough, and as we approach the halfway point of the regular season, every team is reminded weekly that nothing is guaranteed. But last week, we mentioned that Alex Steen was named to the initial top 100 watch list for the prestigious Bevo Francis Award, and he's been a major part of the success of the program this year. And our own Emma Lauren Poole had the chance to sit down with him last week to talk Mocs basketball.
I'm here with Alex Steen, who's just been named to the Bevo Francis Award watch list this year. First of all, congratulations. How does it feel to have received this honor?
I mean, it feels great. Honestly, I didn't really know too much about it. Donnelly told me yesterday before practice, and I was kind of like, what's that? But obviously finding out more about it, it's definitely an honor, and it feels good. It's still a long way to go, top 100. But just to graze that top 100, it's an accomplishment. So it definitely feels great.
I think it would be safe to consider this a breakout season for you. I'm interested mentally. How has this season been different than last season for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of obviously last year I was a freshman, so I was just kind of trying to find the ropes of everything and, kind of just going with what I could do, just kind of going with the flow. And obviously, like you were saying, this year definitely more of a breakout year. But for me, it's kind of, I honestly haven't felt too much of a difference mentally, just because we're having so much fun, and that's really the biggest thing. It's not just me playing, having fun. I think just the team as a whole, we're all enjoying. Like, practice is fun. I like coming to work with the guys and playing games with the guys. So it's really fun for me, and it isn't too much on my mental stress. I'm not really overthinking too much. I'm kind of just playing, and so that's kind of, for me, that's where I'm at. Just go into it and play like you have been, and not overthink or get in my own head and overthink too much. So yeah, it's definitely been not too much of a mental load, for sure.
Well, basketball is fun for you. It's fun to be a part of the team. It's really fun for the fans too, and you do a great deal to help that. You're a very high energy player. Do you ever feel any kind of pressure to bring the energy?
Honestly, not too. I wouldn't call it pressure. So last year, when I was looking back, I was like kind of, I was dunking the ball a decent amount, and I was like, I'm not really celebrating. I'm not really, getting hype or anything as much as I wanted to. So I kind of, this year, obviously, I'm getting more dunks, more looks like that, and that is kind of part of it too. When momentum, the fans in the crowd is part of the momentum. So when something like that, when I do a dunk and anything like that, it's kind of, it just happens. I just kind of, celebrate. I don't go too much. I don't want to, showboat or anything like that, but definitely try and engage the crowd as much as I can, give a good scream or something like that. So kind of get everyone engaged and cheering, but it's kind of, it just comes with it, competing at a high level, when something like that happens, or we're on a good run. I think it's really, everyone's feeling it. So kind of let everyone know and get everyone engaged with it.
Always got to keep it classy, but that momentum you mentioned definitely is real right now. You're leading the nation in blocks and doubles and in the top 10 in several other categories too. What have you kind of done to prepare to perform at that level, and what do you anticipate doing in the coming weeks and month as this season continues to prepare?
Yeah, I mean, coming into this year, coach kind of told me like, hey, I think you can, lead in rebounds. You should lead in blocks. And, although I didn't know it was going to be, to this level, I think it's kind of just in practice, just doing what we have been doing in practice and just staying with it. Because, I've already got this far, like you were saying, and there's not anything necessarily that, I need to change to get more blocks or rebounds or anything. So it's really just kind of sticking with it. Obviously we're practicing hard, working, trying to get as many blocks, but I think the guys have kind of adapted to it. So it's honestly, I feel like I get more blocks in the games than I do in practice now, because the guys expect it. But it's honestly just staying with it, practicing every day and just staying with it, knowing it'll come to me without having to, overly try to do, one thing or the other. So it's just kind of playing, like I was saying, most of it is just playing, going with the flow, and it kind of comes to me. So
coming into the season, Florida Southern and Nova Southeastern were anticipated to finish tied first in the conference. Was there any kind of expectation attached for that? How's the season gone? How's that been different than how you thought it was going to go?
Yeah, definitely. And, obviously Nova was the reigning undefeated national champions. So it was just to see that we were picked, first two, kind of was like, a message to ourselves, like, hey, the coaches in this league think that of us too, and this is undefeated national champions. So we kind of came in, knowing that we were good, and we just kind of had to believe it. So, and so obviously we're sitting up top right now. We're in first place, which is awesome. But definitely, I think every now and then, coach would remind us, like, hey, it's not like an accident we're here. We got picked first for a reason, and so if we just need to, keep executing, keep doing our things. And so far through, obviously, we still got a handful more conference games to go, so it's nowhere near over. But we're definitely put ourselves in the right place right now and set ourselves up for a good last couple conference games. So definitely.
Like you mentioned, this is far from over, and we are anticipating lots more great things from you and the rest of the team. Obviously, we can't answer this question for certain, not knowing exactly what's going to happen, but I'm still going to ask it. What does the rest of the season look like for you and for the rest of the team?
Definitely. I mean, obviously, as everyone knows, we kind of got a little away road game stretch here, so we got, I'm not sure exactly, but our next handful of games are on the road. And so 3 in a row. But I think we come home, we play like 1 home game, and then we go back on the road again. So we definitely, we're kind of on the away stretch of our schedule. And this league's tough because, any team could beat any team on any given night. And especially going away games are tough. So it's really just, go game at a time. We don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. There's still a lot of basketball to be played. It's really just taking it game by game because every game is going to be a different challenge. And, this next one's down at Barry. And even though they might not be, in the top in the standings, they're still a really good team. And on their home court, you never know how it could happen. So it's really taking it game by game. And, like I said, we set ourselves up in a good position so that if we continue to, play and progress like we have been, we should ultimately be good. But, it's going to be a tough rough patch of the season, but I think we should be able to, weather the storm pretty well and just continue to play like we've been playing.
You know much more about it, but as far as I can tell, basketball really is about taking it one day at a time. So as you head into the last stretch of this season, is there anything that maybe a coach has said that has motivated you or anything that you live by and continue to carry with you?
Yeah, definitely. I think Coach Donnelly, one of his big things was, we're not going to be perfect in December, January, and that we shouldn't be perfect in the early months. It's all about where we're at in March. And I think that's one thing we're really, as a team and just me, taking into account for, because we play so many games, and over the stretch, it's not about who's, the best team right now. It's not about who's the best team in February. It's really all about the tournament. So Coach Donnelly's word has been, we're good, we're doing good right now, and we're going to keep improving. He focused on it actually like the other day in practice. He was saying some teams are going to progress right now and some are going to regress, and we need to be one of the teams that continues to progress throughout the next couple conference games and leading into the playoffs. So I think that's definitely kind of our mindset, is just keep stacking. We're not going to be perfect right now, but we're getting there. So keep going, pretty much piece by piece. So.
Well, congratulations to you once again. Best of luck on the road at Barry and also in the rest of the season. Thank you for chatting with us today.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
And quick reminder, the Walk-On Coaches Show is tomorrow, January 25th, and feel free to catch up with head coaches Mike Donnelly and Megan Zekas, as well as one men's and women's basketball player. You can join all the fun and even ask them some questions at the Walk-Ons located in North Lakeland off of US 98. The show starts at 12 p.m., and if you cannot be there in person, you can watch it live or on demand on fscmox.com/live.
And now we will shift our attention to the ice, where the hockey team was back in action this past Friday after their winter break, taking on the University of Florida. The Gators found the back of the net first, but the Mocs answers back with Caden Williams evening things up just a minute later. Matthew Fromer finding the net a few minutes after that, and Keaton Clay netting 2 to give the Mocs a 4-1 lead after the first 20 minutes. Will Marshall scored the eventual game winner. Goaltender Jason Cribbs stopped 26 of 31 shots, and despite some feistiness near the end, the Mocs defeated the Gators 8-5 to continue their winning ways. Emma Lauren Poole, hockey correspondent, caught up with Will Marshall after the game.
I'm here with Will Marshall, who contributed greatly to a Mocs win tonight, 8-5 over the University of Florida. Will, congratulations on the hat trick tonight. How did you contribute individually to help the team build the momentum once again in the third period?
Yeah, thank you. I think as a team we play well when we play together, so definitely just pushing the pace and getting open for my teammates.
And then in your first game back on the ice this semester, what did the team kind of do to prepare for this moment and this night?
Yeah, we were definitely a little excited. Haven't played a game in a little over a month, and last game was pretty bad against Miami. But yeah, just being excited and getting at practice and just mentally preparing as we normally do.
And then next weekend, a road game versus Tampa.
Yep.
How do we continue this momentum, and what are you guys looking to do to prepare to perform your best next weekend?
Yeah, definitely. We don't do a lot of travel games, so definitely abnormal for us, but definitely just the same stuff we've been doing, mentally preparing for the games and pushing the pace when we get on the ice.
Well, congratulations. Thank you again, and good luck next weekend.
As mentioned right there, they have a road game at the University of Tampa Friday night, and will be back at home at the Lakeland Ice Arena Saturday evening against Hofstra.
And speaking of winning teams and winning cultures, both swim teams closed out SSC regular season competition this past weekend, traveling south to compete against Nova Southeastern University. The women's swim team competed well, but was ultimately unable to compete with the reigning NCAA champions and number 3 ranked Sharks. 𝙏𝙃𝙀 𝙎𝙉𝘼𝙆𝙀 continued her success this season with event wins in the 100 and 200 breast, and Elizabeth Sykes added another 100 fly victory to her season. The number 14 ranked men's team was upset by the number 16 Sharks after opening the meet with an exciting 200 medley relay decided in the Sharks' favor by less than half of a second. The only event win for the Mocs came in the shape of Nino Villalon's 100 fly. A lot of the usual suspects, Brandon Wilson, Ludwig Mueller, and Kyle Mikulev, to name a few, came up just short, placing second or third behind a strong day from Nova. But no worries, they'll get another crack at the Sharks at the highly competitive conference meet.
That's right. Really looking forward to the swim meet for the conference, but they had one more game. They stayed down south to compete against Lynn University the following afternoon. The women very nearly upset the number 22 ranked Fighting Knights behind a podium sweep in the 500 free. Pelletier's wins in the 100 and 200 breast, Miles's wins in the 1000 free and the aforementioned 500 free. Even senior Allie Britton got in on the podium action with a silver in the 1000 free and a bronze in the 200 breast and 100 fly. The Mocs eventually did drop the duel by 10, 136 to 126, but it was a great day for them. The men's team closed their season with a victory against the Knights behind some very strong performances by Nico Peristeridis, Nino Villalon, John Ziegler, and Brandon Wilson, all with 2 event wins. Both the men and the women, like Carl said, will compete in the Sunshine State Conference Championships February 14th through the 18th at the Fast Center in Ocala, Florida. These are some teams that are looking to make waves at the national meet.
And James, speaking of making waves, the track team made some waves up at the Alachua County Sports Complex this past weekend, where they continued to make history, starting off with the 3K, where we saw the indoor record for both men and women fall. Cheyenne Young started the record-breaking weekend running 10:36 in the 3K, sneaking just below the record of 10:38 previously held by Emma Musante. In the men's side, both Alex Guy and Christian Giller ran below the previous indoor record of 8:32 held by Owen Allen, with Guy just beating out Giller with a time of 8:31 flat. This wasn't the end of the fun for the team, though, with others traveling up the following day to take on the mile, 800, and 5K. In the mile, the women's freshman record was obliterated by Grace Reed, who broke the freshman record that she set just last week by 6 seconds, running 5:12. The weekend closed on a high note for the men as well, with junior Seth Augustinowski winning the 5K competition with a time of 15:05 in his first collegiate victory, with fellow junior Aiden Redmond finishing third with a time of 15:12. And the track team will travel back up to Gainesville this weekend, and there'll be a lot of traveling around the state, whether that's basketball, track, or swim later on. And make sure to tune in to the Snakebite in the coming weeks, and also on fscmocs.com/live, like we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, to stay up to date on your Mocs athletics.